Good day, fellas. I hope you are ready for your daily dose of skill. Today we are going to start the new series, Top 3 Hardest Tier 10 Tanks to Play for a Beginner, right? In this situation, we are going to play with the heavy tanks, and maybe this is the Type 5 Heavy, maybe this is E5, maybe this is Object, or maybe this is a Mouse, or maybe Panzer, who knows? You can try to guess your predictions now. What do you think are the top 3 hardest play heavy tanks for a beginners, right? And let's see how far away you are going to be. And in the same time, fellas, remember, you can always like the video by showing a thumbs up, right? And by saying, skill, I like this content, please, more of it. So without further ado, let's teleport straight into the battle with the first hardest beginner heavy tank to play with. Let's go. So the very first tank in the list would be 50B. 50B is extremely difficult tank to play with because frankly it has no armor whatsoever unless someone is using auto-aim to you. And even though you have some gun depression, you have some speed, in the same time it is very, very easy to get into the trouble with this vehicle, at least in my humble opinion, right? Plus on top of that, I need to highlight this, that with this tank you must spam gold. No, but skill, what do you mean? 257 millimeters of penetration and 1000 shell velocity is not bad. No, it's not bad, fellas. But gold is significantly better. And whenever you are playing skill, and whenever you are playing with auto loaders, you want to hit every and each shot of yours. You do not want to miss the shots. You want to be as successful as you physically and possibly can be, at least in my humble opinion, right? And this is what you are looking for whenever you are playing with autoloaders, right? Or overall any tank, but autoloader is significantly more important to hit every single shot, because let's get real, you have 4 shots with this vehicle, right? So far that's fair enough, and so far it's very, very clear and very good. With a standard tank, whenever you are missing, well, you are waiting 10 seconds and you can shoot again. Whenever with a tanks like 50B you are missing, well, this is where the problem starts, right? You are simply cutting your DPM by a humongous margin, and overall you want to penetrate your shots, right? Straightforward like this. Although, I mean, for professional World of Tanks players, this tank can work kind of alright, and this is definitely not the worst tank in the World of Tanks. But once again, how many professional players do we have in the percentage, you know? Not everyone is professional World of Tanks player. You cannot expect people to make the 50B work just like so, you know? It doesn't work like this. And now we missed couple of shots, hashtag never lucky. It's okay, we are chilling, we are enjoying ourselves, and we are just simply waiting until we are going to reload. And reload we will. And whenever we are going to reload, fellas, this is where this tank is shining to a certain extent, right? This 277 thought he can be very, very aggressive, and in fact he can. He can get a ticket to the garage like there is no tomorrow, right? How about that? Okay, what to do next with this beautiful, magnificent tank? What to do next, fellas? And by the way, feel free to share your opinions in the comment section down below. Do you think I am right about the tanks which are extremely hard to play for beginners? Or do you think I am wrong? Maybe to the certain extent I am delusional, and skill, what are you talking about? The 50B is autoloader, it's idiot proof. You can get one clip and you are feeling like a super duper hyper turbo champion, right? Feel free to share your opinion with us as well. Okay, by the way, pay attention what is happening here, right? We have plenty of the enemies sitting around this area, and what we want to do, obviously, we want to slap them, and we want to make sure that they are going to take one for the team, right? That's what we want to do. Soon we might need to escape from here. The main reason why am I saying so is because enemies should try to make a bit of pressure like this, right? And by the way, comparing this tank with other autoloaders, as an example, T57, I think T57 is significantly better for a beginner just because of the better armor and overall those 340 hits as well, right? I think this is important thing to highlight as well. Okay, we are relaxing, we are enjoying our journey, we are having a great time, and we are just waiting until enemies will say, brr, I go. You know, that's what we are waiting for. And now we have a cow. And you know what? That sounds like a good time. Wagyu. Fellas, that definitely sounds like a good time. Meanwhile, Samoa is making pressure for Lorraine, and obviously we want to help, actually for Škoda, sorry. And we definitely want to help our Škoda by clipping the living crap out of this mother trucker. Oh, help. Škoda is saying, yeah, unfortunate, my man. I mean, I wish to be Santa and save you in this kind of situation, but I do not really think I can do anything in this situation. Meanwhile, 10 seconds to go. I know this tiger is still holding this line, but not for a long time. And now what we want to say, what we want to do, we want to slap this T-57, right? This is the main play line for us, and now we want to escape before it's too late. Simple as this. We are not thinking too much apart running away, right? My mission is to get somewhere from where our team could support us, right? And yeah, this is the problem. This is the problem of this autoloader, or as a matter of fact of any autoloaders, right? Yep, he caught me off guard, right? Or he made the correct decision by making a pressure to simply slap me whenever I'm on the reload. And that is very, very, very hard thing, you know? Whenever you are playing with a 50B, you want to be somewhere nearby, you want to support your team, right? But in the same time, if you are going to be caught off guard, it is going to be sadness, and you are going to get slaughtered for sure. And as an example, if I would be in this situation with a T-57, not only I would reload quicker my clip, I in the same time can bounce significantly more than I could with a 50B. But that is okay. This is what this session is all about. I want to show you performances like this. I want to highlight how hard it can be to play with one or another tank. And so far, I am feeling very, very happy. Let's see the score after the very first game, shall we? And we are back, fellas, with a victory, and proudly we can say we played okay-ish. Listen, okay is the fine word, fellas. 4.3 thousand damage, 500 assisting damage is not the game I'm going to complain about playing with a 50B, right? I do not really think we played super bad, although in the end of the day, the MX-30, he did absolutely amazing push, and he slapped me like there is no tomorrow, right? We finished everything by being third by experience and by being first by the damage, right? And plus on top of that, we made quite a bit of the profits as well. Although we haven't spammed the full gold. Obviously, with a full gold, it would be significantly better situation, but I thought, yeah, it's going to be fair enough if we are going to play with the standards. So, fellas, do you agree that 50B is very, very hard tank to play for a beginner? And we are just starting our journey. We are going straight up to the round number 2 and to the second hardest to play tank for beginners. Let's go. And the next tank in our list is FAVA 215B. Okay, let's start from the good things. Gun. Gun of this tank is amazing. Gun of this tank is absolutely glorious, and it's awesome. This is where the good things are ending. Well, gun and DPM, right? Now, bad things. Unfortunately, but the gun depression of this tank is far away from being ideal, right? That's a fact that is 100%. The armor of this tank is worth a bloody cardboard. And whenever you are getting hit, you are getting lit on fire, you are losing engine, you are losing ammo rack. You cannot sidescrape with this tank either. In other words, what I'm trying to highlight that this vehicle is very, very, very hard tank to play with. Would we have an awesome players who would make this tank work and who would go for 4,000 or 5,000 DPG? Sure, but it doesn't mean it is going to be a good tank for a beginner, right? Same goes for a 50B. I mean, we definitely would have players who are excellent, who are absolutely amazing, and who would slap the living crap out of the enemies. But once again, it doesn't make the tank good, right? And in the same time, whenever you are classed as a heavy tank, I think it is very important thing to highlight that, unfortunately, but you are taking the spot out of other heavy tank in the matchmaking. That being said, you might be matched against something like, let's say, E100. Or let's say you are going to be matched against a mouse or something else like this. And this is extremely hard situation to deal with whenever you are playing with the tanks like this, truly. You know, you are just simply not able to make pressure, and oh boy, this is definitely not what you are looking for, right? You just do not want to be in this position, in my humble opinion. But once again, that is only me. Now, looking into this situation, fellas, we are stuck. Enemies are going to say soon for us, step bro, are you stuck? You know, this is how am I looking into all of this. So I am trying to escape where I can get the most use of this game, and getting the most use of this game is it pretty much means we are going to use our gun, right? We are going to the red line like a proper heavy tanks we are. Yeah, fellas, heavy tank who is just getting closer to the heavy line. Well, the heavy tank, which is getting closer to the red line, and he is having his heartbeat twice stronger. And you know, I have seen many times the situation like this whenever people are yelling on the FAVA 215B and saying, idiot, heavy tank not making pressure. I mean, what kind of pressure do you want to make with this tank? You want to make pressure to the garage or what, you know? This is very important thing to highlight. One more thing. It's the same situation like a 50B with this vehicle. You want to shoot the gold ammunition, fellas. You just want to shoot the gold ammunition with this tank. Skill, why would you say something like this? Once again, the biggest selling point of this tank is the gun. And without gun, without doing damage, right, whenever you have an opportunity, you are nothing with this tank. You are literally nothing. Bunch of nothing, fellas. That being said, you know, you just want to maximize your performance in this way. This is what you want to do, fellas. And this is not an easy thing to pull off, and this is not an easy way to play the game, right? Once again, safe defense parameter with a bloody top tier heavy tank. Most of the players would struggle with this very much, right? And this is not a bad thing to have heavy tanks without the greatest armor. This is not what I am saying. I am saying that it is just extremely hard tank to play with for beginner. Plus, on top of that, extremely important thing to highlight, there is no reason to play with this tank whenever tanks like Super Conqueror exists, because Super Conqueror is pretty much everything what this tank is, but better, with armor, with ability to play hold down, with ability to actually be useful in the game, right? This is very important thing to highlight, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, I know there is some successful players who would play well with this tank, but it's not making the tank better, or it's not making the tank awesome just because someone would make this tank work, right? At least this is how I look into all of this. And now you are seeing this tank highlight, the best part of this tank, right? We are going ham with a beautiful APCR ammunition. We are slapping enemies like there is no tomorrow, and we are able to hit them. And that's awesome. This is what this tank is all about to a certain extent, right? This is what this vehicle is all about, fellas. We are just trying to find the angles from where we can shoot enemy team, and we are hoping not to get slapped ourselves for our stupidity and for our mistakes and for our lack of armor. All we want to do here is to find the pixel shots and just to keep slap enemy team, right? That's all we want to do, fellas. That is all we want to do. And gun, fellas, I mean, look at this gun. Gun is the biggest selling point of this vehicle, and what a selling point it is. Yum. We are just slapperoo slapping. That's for sure, and this is a fact, right? Now, this situation is a bit messed up for us. Why so? Because enemy team is getting significantly closer than we would love to. Enemy team is about to show the dominance for us, right? And this is not what we are exactly looking for. But that is okay, fellas. That's to be expected because we know what to expect of this tank, right? Plus on top of that, honestly speaking, amount of the ammunition with this tank is low. It is truly low, fellas. Having only 35 shells, if I'm not mistaken, that is no bueno. That is no bueno, fellas. Obviously, it doesn't change the fact that you can be successful with the tanks like this, right? Okay. What do we want to do? We want to place somewhere around this area and we want to slap enemies whenever they are going to get spotted, right? That's all we want to do in this situation. Skill, are you playing with us as a heavy tank sniper schnitzel in Kempinovka? Yes, I am, fellas. What do you want me to do? To go in front and to try to expect to bounce almighty Jack Pizda? That's what you are expecting? Fellas, you are expecting way too much. I can tell you that you are expecting way too much from the vehicle like this. So in a way, you are being a typical heavy tank who is near the red line and afraid to make any pressure whatsoever. This is the role of this vehicle, which is hilarious if you would ask me. You know, that is a lot of fun and that is crazy. Meanwhile, we have a 60 TP who is dancing, fellas. There is no other way to do the things just to dance back, right? And hopefully we can say hello for this CC tier 9 tank destroyer, right? That's all we can do in this kind of situation, right? Fellas, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we are having a proper baboon party right here. We are having a proper baboon party, I am telling you, absolutely nuts. We are getting slaughtered by the enemies, but that is completely fine. Let's get another damaging shot here, and we have no fear whatsoever, fellas. What an ending that was, fellas. What an ending that was. Oi, 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 oi. And this is the main reason why I do not use anonymizer, fellas. This is a lot of fun. This is loads of fun. This is World of Tanks in the nutshell. And I like it, fellas. And I like it. The emotions whenever you are seeing baboons in the game and you are seeing them pushing through the open field with a PP up, that is awesome. Anyways, looking into the performance, that was a good game, fellas. With this tank, it was absolutely glorious. 6,900 damage, 600 assisting damage. You know, very, very good game. And even though we scored on top, in this situation, it was good because we played this tank like we should. To be a pussy, to sit near the red line and to be afraid to do something. I know that sounds weird, but this is how you are playing with this vehicle, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely insanity and absolutely a highest level of the craziness, right? Yeah, but this is what this vehicle is. We lost 23,000 credits. That is to be expected, and that is understandable in my opinion. And once again, highest highlight of this. There is no point to play with this tank when I can do the same thing but better with a Super Conqueror. So why to play with a Fava, you know? Anyways, that is a second tank. Let's teleport to the last one. And the last one, I am very interested what you are going to say in the comment section down below. Would you agree with my last call or not so much? Without further ado, let's go. And the last but not least, we are playing with M5i, or better known as Yoch, since it was made in the Yoch factory or whatever. Listen, this vehicle is very, very... First of all, let's start everything with it. This tank is kind of weak, right? And this vehicle is pretty much the worst version of the Super Conqueror. There is no way I would choose this tank over Super Conk in any shape or any form. And what is so hard for beginner friendliness, even though you potentially can play hull down with this tank? This tiny cupola, it feels like it would have all world magnets in it. You are getting hit there very, very often. You need to steer exactly into the enemies, and whenever enemies are about to shoot, you need to raise your PP up so your frontal mantlet can actually bounce something. So the armor wise, it is quite a weak tank, honestly speaking. Plus, on top of that, if you want to make this tank work properly, and in my opinion, you should use 360 alpha damage gun. Obviously, the gold spam is one of the factors with this vehicle, right? And in the same time, if you will turn the turret a bit sideways like this, everyone will shred you like hot knife through the butter. So this is kind of annoying feature, and this is definitely a bad thing if I can say so. Although, the benefit of this tank is the DPM, you know? You can go in and you can pew 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 with a 360 alpha damage. Pew 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 pew. That is a good thing of this tank, and this is definitely worth to highlight it a bit, right? But once again, armor is extremely hard to use, and once again, I think this is one of the hardest tier 10 heavy tanks to play for beginner for sure. And yes, sure, there is some players who would fall in love with a dildo, who would have the best time ever playing with this tank, but it doesn't make this tank super good, or it doesn't make this tank like one of the best tanks for beginners especially, right? At least this is how I look into all of this. Also, compare it to the Super Conqueror, right? The gun handling of this vehicle is lackluster. Considering what kind of alpha damage do you have with this tank, the gun could be definitely significantly better. And I truly mean it, fellas. I truly mean it. The gun handling could be better. And no one would complain that this vehicle is broken, and this tank is overpowered, or this tank is too strong in the world of tanks, right? Although this tracking mechanic is kind of okay for one particular reason, and that reason is whenever you are out of the repair kit, you can slowly but surely tar from the messed up position in a way, right? So that is kind of very much appreciated, and that is kind of very nice thing if you would ask me, right? Meanwhile, obviously, whenever you are getting into the alpha damage wars, this is where you are going to lose with this tank if we are speaking about the trades, right? Trading with this tank is definitely far away from being ideal, and definitely far away from being excellent or amazing, right? Now we are trying to find a better angle to slap the Mr. Minotauro, right? We are trying to bait him to shoot us, and after that we are trying to survive the current situation and whatnot. Not the easiest way to do the things for sure, fellas. For sure. Okay. So far, this is okay start, fellas. So far, we are doing the things well, and I cannot complain that everything is looking extremely badly with this, right? I definitely cannot complain about this. Meanwhile, there is almighty E3, who is already going into the garage. That's good. And what we need to do now, we need to say hello for this Mr. Minotauro. Bad shot from my side, not much what I can change about that. Maybe we could eliminate him from the game, but he's already dead. Excellent. Very, very nice. What do we want to do now? We want to go for a Mr. Hori. We want to say hello to this beautiful gentleman. So looking into this game, it did not felt like the dildo is the worst tank. We actually bounced a shot or two. We got ammo react only once, which is hip hip hooray, you know, and it did not felt like it is the worst tank in the world of tanks, right? But once again, the knowledge which you need to have with this tank to stay all the time, hold down, it's just hard, and I cannot make up the other tank with which it would be so hard to play the game, right? At least in the tier 10. So I think we nailed this list. And if you think the dildo is significantly easier to play, or maybe 50B is significantly easier to play for beginner, feel free to share your opinion, fellas. I am very, very curious what you are going to say in the comment section down below, right? Meanwhile, I said I got ammo react only once. Never mind, I'm taking my my words back. We are getting armor act again as well, but that's to be expected. How about other shot? Once again, on the flat surface, this tank do not really have any armor whatsoever. So in this kind of situation, all we can say is ay 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 ay. That's what we can say, fellas. And now we are just simply trying to make a hardcore pressure, but Arta gets us. It is not a horrible game by any shape or any form, but once again, keep this in mind, fellas, that we played for most of this game cooldown. And the most important thing, whenever we were on the open field, it was game over. There is, I mean, you need to be very, very, very lucky in order to bounce the shot or two. And even though on the paper, armor is looking kind of alright of this tank, in reality, it is just significantly harder to use the armor, as I would love to say, honestly. Anyways, let's see the score. Okay, fellas, and we are back. 4,700 damage, 100 assisting damage. We are second by experience, we are first by the damage, and we lost quite a bit of the credits, but that's to be expected because we needed to spam quite a bit of gold. So, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about my top 3 least beginner-friendly heavy tank list? Do you think did I nailed it, or maybe I made a mistake and maybe Type 5 Heavy is significantly harder to play for beginner than those vehicles, right? Feel free to share your comments down below, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did making this list. I believe we can check out the medium tanks, tank destroyers, and so on, you know, the hardest tanks to play overall, and hopefully this will give a good idea for beginners, which lines not to go for, especially whenever it's so easy to grind them, as an example, whenever the dildo line is top of the tree and whatnot, right? I am curious to see what do you like about how did you enjoy the content, and do you want to see more of it? I personally loved it, I enjoyed it, and for me it was a big pleasure to record this. Anyways, have a good one, fellas, enjoy yourself, and see you very, very soon. Skill is out for today. Peace.